Hey, welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Miami Heat, they get themselves a win, 120-117 in the preseason over the San Antonio Spurs. I got to be honest with you, was as entertaining as a preseason game could possibly be, and then some. You got everything tonight. If you were in the building, and I wish it was a more full building for tonight. I was expecting, I think, a bigger crowd to see Wembanyama. I would have thought more people were. I guess people weren't sure if he was going to play or not. Pop said he was only going to play him 15 minutes before the game, but that was one of the main reasons I had to get to this game. I was like, I didn't get to see him last year. I got to see what this dude looks like in person, and apparently has added muscle, so probably looks even more impressive in person than he did last year. And man, I was just like, whoo. Because, it's one of these things. One of the things that's cool about this job, I'm not going to lie, is like you go down and you want to see what do the best of the best look like in their talents. Like, how does this freak among freaks, how is this going to work? And the thing that stood out about him, honestly, the most is the friggin' dunking. Like, because it looks ridiculous. Like, he could just, it's like he is very athletic and he moves gracefully, and but I wouldn't even say it's like the most graceful shot you've ever seen. Like, that's probably like Kevin Durant. Obviously, watching Steph shoot in person is art, or you see, like, honestly, see somebody like Duncan Robinson and the perfection that he's put into his shot. That stuff's really cool to see in person. It's awesome to see somebody like Bam, who's an athletic freak, continue to grow every year. This guy, the thing that stood out was, oh my God, the arms and the length while he's at the rim is like, it does. It looks like he's playing on the play school rim. It looks like he's playing like it's like a baby dunking on a toy basketball hoop. It's ridiculous. So, was very much looking forward to seeing this, but also, I always enjoy the Spurs because of Gregg Popovich, and I wanted to ask Gregg Popovich my annual Bam Adebayo question. I did not get a chance to ask him that last year, and it's been a fascinating thing because I remember asking Gregg Popovich the year it was going into Jimmy Butler's first year with the Heat, and Bam was going to become a big main player for the Heat, and there was a whole thing they didn't make Team USA, and I asked Gregg Popovich, hey, what the hell, dude, in so many words, and he was just like, he just looks like a completely better player and different player than the guy that we saw. And today, when I asked Gregg Popovich about Bam Adebayo, like how, because now he's obviously gone on to camps and gold medals with Gregg Popovich. Now he's a 2-time gold medalist, and you can see him and Bam always have a moment now after these Spurs games. I think this was one of those things where I do think Bam held it out as a chip on his shoulder. I do feel like it's a little bit more, I think it's more cast aside now. They've gone and won championships internationally together, so I don't think this is something that he holds ill will at anymore. But either way, Gregg Popovich said today on Bam, and he said that he just looks so much more comfortable offensively. And man, what a game Bam Adebayo had today against Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. And I got to be honest with you guys, Bam's such a fascinating player because this man, he takes receipts, he takes notes, he knows. And, I was like looking at him today and, starts off the game, boom, just shoots a three right over Wembanyama's face. Very, very tall. And then there was one where he like worked him into to a turnover. And I was like, this reminds me exactly of him versus Jaren Jackson Jr. the year before, where Triple J ends up getting the Defensive Player of the Year. And immediately, I think Bam came out and had like 3 blocks. And it was preseason. It wasn't even the regular season, but like just made a statement. And today, yeah, Bam's numbers are ridiculous. You got the old paper box score from the Heat press room. 23 minutes, 6 of 10 for Bam, 20 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Ridiculous. The Heat again today finished with 15 blocks. It's 15 blocks a game that they've done this in the preseason. This is 3 straight games they've had. 15 steals. It's 3 straight games they've had 15 steals. Bam, Jimmy, Nico all had 3 steals apiece. Tyler Hero had another great play where he got a steal. And it's definitely been noticeable. The Heat are playing faster. They have been tenacious on defense, especially the starters. Though we'll get to the second unit here in a bit. But yeah, man, that is definitely, these have been things that have definitely been standing out. But the Bam Adebayo 3-point shot, I mean, today he was 2 of 3 from downtown, 6 of 10 from the field, 6 of 9 from the free throw line. Just a very efficient game for Bam, and that's putting it lightly. He was really, really good. Really, really good. The highlight by far, though, of the game today was between Jimmy Butler and Chris Paul. And to take you to what happened, Jimmy Butler was gets a pat. The place where I noticed it happening, I don't know if I missed something on the broadcast, but the place where I noticed it happening was Jimmy launched a pass to Nico, and Nico is trying to punish Chris Paul in the paint, and Chris Paul fouls him. He tries to pull the chair out of him, sends him to the ground, but he fouls him, and that's Jimmy's guy. The guy on this team that Jimmy Butler rides for more than anybody else right now is Nikola Jović. That's his dude. That's his brate. That's new brate, which it was, I mean, heartwarming today to have Goran Dragic in the building. I heard his sweet Slovenian accent into the press room. I was kind of in the back, so I did not see that adorable face, but he is the best. But new brate is Nico. And Jimmy Butler was like, "Hey." So they're coming off of the Nico fouls, and then so CB3 gets the ball, and Jimmy D's him up and immediately shoves him. Just is jawing at him. He doesn't like that he pushes him, so he just pushes him to the point where they're going to go review for a flagrant foul, because it was quite obvious that Jimmy kind of gave him a little whoop, gave him kind of uppies. And mind you, this is not the first time these two have gone at it in a Heat uniform. Chris Paul at one point was with the Oklahoma City Thunder, threw a basketball at Duncan Robinson, and Jimmy Butler rammed his shoulder into him and sent him flying. Chris Paul is a notorious pain in the ass, kind of a dirty player, gets on people's nerves, and Jimmy Butler wasn't having it. He was not having it at all. And so Chris Paul and the refs, they're immediately going to review it. Jimmy Butler is dapping up everybody on the sidelines. Duncan Robinson friggin' loves it. Jimmy Butler has a giant smile on his face. He's giving the yak, 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 yak. Chris Paul's yakking at him. Then he goes over to Nico, and he's giving the old, get his ass out of here. He's flexing. He's peacocking. He just has it all going on, baby. It was fantastic. And, dude, this little incident, if there is one thing that Jimmy Butler loves, it is playing basketball. But if there is one thing that Jimmy Butler loves more than playing basketball, it is trolling. And this guy was giving Chris Paul the business the rest of the game. He would not shut up. He was going at him every single time he touched the ball, no matter who was D'ing him up, who he was at. Every time Chris Paul messed up, he was talking trash. Every time that he got a bucket, he was talking trash. He was going at Chris Paul non-friggin' stop. As soon as Bam blew right by Chris Paul on an assignment, you could see Jimmy Butler's giving the hands up. He is just cheering and is loving life. And he will not stop talking to the bench. He is like engaged with Coach Caron Butler and everybody on the bench and the sidelines. He is just giving Chris Paul just nonstop action when it comes to talking trash to him. There was at one point today where where like as the game is winding down, like him and Nico were having a moment where like he was kind of showing Nico like what moves he would use. He would like use, I'm guessing, he's like using the rear naked choke, and Jović is kind of giving him like the shadow boxing as to what he would do. It was adorable. I love this duo. I loved seeing Jimmy Butler. I love seeing Jimmy Butler be in this mode. I felt like it was a great atmosphere for the team. I think everybody kind of felt that. It picked everybody else up. It was definitely a preseason game that had some more serious run to it. You had the starters that played well into the third quarter. So Jimmy Butler came out. Nico shot and hit a three like right out of halftime, and Jimmy just immediately starts talking to the San Antonio Spurs and to CP3. And then Nico got the block on the other end. Then Jimmy Butler just started, like, dude, he started, like, jumping out of the gym with friggin' slam dunks. Like, we saw some great dunks today. Terry Rozier had some incredible lobs to Bam Adebayo. I love the way that duo's playing. Tyler's looking fantastic today as well. While he was getting interviewed, there was a fight going on in the stands. I'm telling you, it was a chaotic night at the Kaseya Center. It was crazy. But Jimmy Butler Jimmy Butler was like this just jump in his step. He was like, boom. He did like a one-handed over the head jam. Just had some juice in those legs tonight. And I don't know if it's because he knows he probably ain't playing until regular season. So this is probably the last we're going to see him in action until opening night against the Orlando Magic. But the CP3 thing also just for sure let it happen. Like for sure just found something there. Tyler found him cutting. He put a poster on Zach Collins. I mean, he was like, and then he was just talking to himself. Like he would just be like walking around the court like a maniac, just talking to nobody. Just, I think he wants the ball back, but he wants to just go find a way to go burn Chris Paul one more time. And then there was this one point where Nico missed a three, scramble, he get the rebound, Nico then gives it to Jimmy Butler, and like nobody in the Spurs there, scoop and score. That was his night. That he would be up 6 at that point, 77-71. It was incredible, dude. It was a hilarious night to see that we were doing. So to see the spectacle of Victor Wembanyama, Bam Adebayo giving him the business. Tyler Hero had this beautiful finish off the window over Victor Wembanyama, and then like a rascal. I didn't even catch this in the locker room when Tyler Hero said this because I was a little bit distracted by something else that had happened, and but I misheard. I asked him about scoring over Wembanyama, and I misheard what he said, and I would have given this more, but I'm just like, you rascal, you.
You're going up against a guy like Victor Wembanyama, you have that bucket high off the glass. Mm-hmm. Just what the guy as unique as that. Are you game planning for something like that? Are you feeling that in the game to have to get over those size arms?
Just playing, trying to find different angles. Obviously, he makes you, bring out different things to finish over him, and his length is crazy. Pause. But yeah.
Rascal. Was a great play though. I mean, you gotta admit Tyler looked great, and then Tyler has been getting his paws on some loose balls. Blue Chew. Use the promo code ShowPony. But he has been a deterrent on defense. He's really fed into all of that as well. This Heat team, they're playing faster. They're shooting more threes. Their threes at the rim. They are taking better mathematical shots, but they're doing it with a flair for the style they're playing. Everybody's trying to share the basketball. Nobody feels like they're bogging down the offense. Loving the way that it's looking. It is such a better watch right now to watch the Miami Heat. I got to give some love to the second unit because, first off, a big appreciation to Jaime Jaquez and Duncan Robinson and what they're doing. I almost feel like I want to give this, another segment or something like that, but I'll just wrap up with this. Those two guys, they're so used to fitting in with anybody else. You know, they've had times as starters. They've had to fill in. It was a chaotic year last year. Duncan has literally had every role on the team. But for the most part of his career, has been a Heat starter. And he has done such a great job of bringing together this second unit and being a leader. But the chemistry, it's interesting for two guys who I find to be connectors of chemistry on the team and just kind of fit in with everybody else and make things easier for everybody else in Duncan Robinson and Jaime Jaquez. Those guys have like an on-court rapport with each other, which probably shouldn't be surprising. Two of the easier chemistry guys on the court and connectors for everybody else. They were finding each other on the court today in just such beautiful ways, whether it was cutting, whether it was, Jaime Jaquez had this great bucket where Duncan finds him with a bounce pass in the paint. He scored on 2 San Antonio Spurs. Kevin Love is also in the midst of this. He had this, how everybody, like, he always does the perfect outlet pass. But in fairness, like, the outlet pass is always like you kind of have to go back like a possession receiver to go get it, and he caught like an intangible slot receiver. He caught Duncan Robinson like on the move, and then Duncan right to Jaime found the bucket. They were moving the ball really great. Just props to that unit. It was doing great. Drew Smith holding his own against Chris Paul. Just a fun night, man. It was a really, really enjoyable watch for this Miami Heat team. It got a little dicey there at the end. Last 5 minutes, the Summer League unit comes in there. First, we get to really see of Pella and Kalel. They looked really good. Kalel had some good moments. He you know what I liked about Kalel's moments today is it wasn't about the scoring for him. He had offensive rebounds to set up his teammates. He had a deflection that led to a Pelle Larsson 3-ball. Those are the kinds of things that'll lead to playing time for him eventually. Keyshawn Johnson had a big 3. Pelle Larsson, ice in his veins, hitting clutch free throws. Duncan Robinson once again was like hit a big 3-ball, but then like found Keyshawn in the midst of things. So yeah, all around just a fun watch tonight. Mostly because Jimmy Butler was just giving Chris Paul the business all night and trolling him. It was hilarious, but the offense looks fun. Everybody looks connected. Bam Adebayo was incredible. Everything that has been talked about with him is looking as advertised as we head on into the season. This will probably be the last action the starters get. I mean, maybe Tyler and Terry will get some run in Memphis, but no one's playing the Hawks game. That is going to be a summer league game, unless Duncan Robinson plays. Like Duncan and Jaime might play. Like if I had to see like who could play, yeah, Duncan and Jaime might play, but that's going to be a young kids showcase for sure. And it was just noticeable because the ones just had their most run tonight. The twos basically took this almost to the end of the game. And it's a back-to-back. Like, do not expect a lot of people to play in this Hawks game. And then for the Memphis game, I don't really know who's going to be there for that either. So it really does feel like it was a nice cherry on top to send off into the season, because it does feel like, it did feel like in a way a bit of a dress rehearsal to get ready for Orlando on the 23rd.